Hi everyone, Jesse here with etrailer. Today we'll be taking a look at and I'll show you how to set up the Blue Ox Patriot braking system on our 2025 Jeep Gladiator. A braking system is going to allow you to be safe and legal in all 50 states by not only relying on the brakes of the motorhome, but also utilizing the brakes on your towed vehicle to make sure you can come to a safe stop. Here's what it will look like when you have your Patriot set up. As you can see, you have a claw here to grab onto the brake pedal, and then the back of it is just going to simply use the seat as leverage. One thing you will need to purchase separately from the braking system is a 12-volt outlet kit in order to give the Patriot power at all times. And then I'll just hit the setup button so you can take a look at what it looks like when it's activating the brakes. Your kit will come with a breakaway switch, which is here in case of a catastrophic disconnect. If something were to fail, this would pull out, and that's going to apply the brakes on the towed vehicle. Along with the braking system, there is a handful of other components that you'll need to get your vehicle set up completely for flat towing. Starting with the base plate, that's going to be your structural mounting point on the towed vehicle for everything else to connect. Then the tow bar is the physical link between towed vehicle and motorhome. Then we have our diode wiring that's going to send a signal from the motorhome to the taillights on the towed vehicle to get those to work properly. And we have our safety cables, which are here also in case of a catastrophic disconnect to help keep everything cradled together. There are a few other things that you'll want to add on just depending on your setup. For example, our neighbor today opted to add on a charge line, which is something we almost always recommend. It keeps your battery on your towed vehicle charged. That way you don't have to worry about a dead battery when you're trying to relax at the campsite. And also I already mentioned the 12-volt outlet kit in order to give our Patriot power. I know when it comes to flat tows, it can be a lot with all the different components you need. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to us. We install these components almost every day, so we know a little bit about them. So we'd be happy to get you pointed in the right direction. Now this is a portable braking system, which means that you'll have to set it up every time you're going to flat tow and also have a place to store it when you're not flat towing. If you're looking for a more permanent solution, check out the Curt RVI Shadow 2. That's a permanent braking system that I really like. Downside to a permanent system like that is it's going to take a lot longer to install. There's a lot more steps and intricacies to it, but once it's installed, you really don't have to mess with it at all. But if you're dead set on a portable braking system, the Blue Ox Patriot is by far my favorite. It's very easy to set up every time and has a small footprint, so storing it should be easier than some of the other options. The installation with portables is pretty simple, but there is a matter of running your breakaway switch cable up into the inside of the vehicle. And also we had to add on that 12-volt outlet kit, so there's a little bit of wiring involved. If that's not something that you're looking to do yourself, check out our dealer locator. You can find someone local to you that would be happy to get this set up for you. If you are looking to see how this gets installed, then follow along and I'll walk you through the process. To begin our installation, I like to find a place to mount our breakaway switch. I'm actually just using one of these factory screws here that's a 7mm, and I put 2 washers on there. That way we can have it rotated out when we're using it, or when we're not using it, we can just set it off to the side. Then you'll want to plug in your plug, and it's pretty simple. You just push it to get it to connect, and then I like to do a couple loops of electrical tape around that to make that nice and secure. I did drill a hole to feed the wires through our skid plate there, and what I'll do next is start routing that wiring up into the cab of the vehicle. Now just route your wiring over to the driver's side, kind of by your brake booster here. Then there's this grommet that I just used a flathead screwdriver to pop out, and then drilled a large hole because we do have to run not only our plug for our braking system, but also a 12-volt wiring kit. So we'll just push that through there. And once everything's installed, I will seal this up with some RTV silicone. And we'll push this wiring through the hole that grommet came out of. Start out inside the vehicle with our outlet, And there's a nice convenient grommet on these Jeeps if you just use a flathead screwdriver. Pop it out and then drill a hole so you can run any wires you need to through it. But then from there, we'll run our wires neatly over to the passenger side where our battery is. Now once we get it routed to our battery, we'll separate our black and our red wire. Our red wire is going to connect to our battery, but we will need to tie it into our fuse first. And then our black wire is going to be a ground, which conveniently over here there's a few factory grounds that we can use. So we'll take that black wire and strip back just a bit of it. And we can crimp on our included ring terminal here. Slide that over and crimp it. And then I've been using this 10mm ground stud here for some of our other flat toe components, so I'll just slip that back off and slide our ring terminal down over that stud and reinstall the 10mm nut. Before we connect our inline fuse, just make sure you remove that fuse, and then we can strip back both ends. I already crimped on our ring terminal on the one end, and then on our red wire I also crimped on the included butt connector. We'll just make that connection there, and then we can connect it to the battery. Our connection to the battery, I'm just going to use this 10mm nut here that I'm once again using for some other flat toe components. So same thing as our ground, just take that nut off and slide your ring terminal over the stud and tighten it back down. Now we've made all of our connections, so we can plug our fuse back in, close the lid, and plug in our braking system. Now we can place our Patriot into our floorboard. Make sure you remove any floor coverings or floor mats. And we'll take our handle here. You'll see to open up the clamp, you just simply pull it all the way up. It'll lock in place. And then you can get it positioned around your pedal, push down on the button, and it will automatically clamp onto it. I have this adjusted to the highest position, and we'll push our seat forward just before it touches the braking system. You don't want it pushing against your brake pedal at all times. Then we will take our breakaway switch cable, plug that into the breakaway slot, plug our power plug into our 12-volt outlet. Now you'll have to hit the power button and your setup button. It's going to run through its paces, make sure everything is good, and as long as you have a solid green flashing light, that means you're set up properly. Once you have everything on the towed vehicle set up, hook up to your motorhome, and then you'll want to take it on a test drive so you can dial in your force. You would just hit this button and go into the settings. Just take a few nice steady stops and dial it in to where you want it. Also in your kit, you'll have the controller, which will plug into a 12-volt outlet in your motorhome. And this is where you can adjust the braking force, so you can dial it in to where you need it. And also, there's a few different menus you can do. You can adjust the light and that. But most importantly, there is a manual brake button down here on the bottom. This is good if you come into a sway condition or anything like this. You can manually brake and steady it out. And that's going to do it for our look at and installation of the Blue Ox Patriot braking system on our 2025 Jeep Gladiator.